So, Dad, what are we doing over here?
We're getting the rice ready, buddy. This is a shallot. We're going to take this whole thing and we're going to dice it up really fine, put it in this cup, and get it ready to get the rice started.
We really don't need 100% video of chopping shallots. It's not that
I'll just show you the basics of it. So you cut thin slices, stack them back up, nice and neat. You go once this way, and you go once this way.
Alright, while you're chopping shallots, let's go see what my mom's doing over here. You almost finished butterflying that?
I am not almost finished, unfortunately. This takes a few minutes. You can buy the chicken cutlet already thin if you want to avoid this step. But it's cheaper this way, and they don't sell. I don't think they sell the thin cut chicken cutlet at Costco. No, they don't. No.
Would you rather the meat be lean or more fatty?
In this case, lean, because we're just, you know, the chicken breast is very lean. It doesn't have a lot of fat on it, so it's a healthy meat to cook. And if you're going to bake it, it's a lot better than frying it. And your kids, if they like chicken tenders or chicken fingers or whatever, they'll like it. Because it's the same thing, except it's fresh and not processed, and you could cook it ahead of time and save it in the fridge or even in the freezer and then make it whenever you want. So we'll come back in a few minutes because cutting chicken is boring. Okay?
Alright.
Daddy's still dicing with it. Orange peppers?
You don't want to cut these too much. It'll avoid the tears from everything that comes out of the onion. And before we take this and put it in the pan, we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to measure out the rice. We're going to make 2 cups of rice, so we're going to use dry cups. And before we do that, we're going to come over here. Some important steps with the risotto. You take a pot, you don't need the lid, and you're going to put in about 3 cups of chicken stock for every cup of rice that you're going to put in.
Alright, so if you're putting in 1 cup of rice, you'd use 3 cups of chicken stock.
Yep. So one of these containers is 4 cups. So I'm going to use 1.5 containers, which I had ready to go.
Alright. Because since we're using 2 cups of rice, we're putting in 6 cups of chicken stock.
You got it, buddy.
Alright.
And after you have this in the pot, you're going to put the heat on it on simmer. Start with it on medium to warm it up because it needs to be warm so it gets absorbed. You got to shake it good before you pour it.
People that follow me, there's a few, maybe like 30. Yeah, it's funny. Dale? Huh? Dale? Well, whenever I put something new.
So now that we're done with this, we're going to get this pan heated up in the front. And what we're going to do is we're going to melt some butter in here.
What's that pan going to be for?
This is going to be for the rice and for the shallots. What we're going to do is we're going to brown the rice and cook the shallots. So if you take a look, people might look at the whole stick of butter and say, boy, that's an awful lot of butter. But when you're thinking about it, 2 cups of rice is probably going to serve 8 to 10 people. So that's not a lot of butter for that many people. So we'll let that melt. And the next thing we're going to do is measure out the rice. So we need 2 dry cups. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to try and get as close as you can because it's not an exact science. The good thing about cooking is it's not an exact science.
Unlike baking.
Exactly, buddy. You know what? We got plenty of it. We got plenty of chicken stock. We're just going to make it all. There we go.
A few extra grains.
A few extra grains never hurt anybody. So we'll get this later. We're going to need it later. And the chicken stock. going to do now is make sure that the butter doesn't burn. I'm going to chop it up a little bit so it melts a little more evenly, and what's in there melted right isn't burned. Make sure it's coating the whole bottom of the pan. And once it's all melted, then we'll throw in the rice and the shallots, and I'll show you that.